Man, let's cut to the chase. Madden 23 beta, is it just 22 with a new roster? Well, I'm here to tell you that. Alright, before I begin my video, I just want to send a shout out to a fellow YouTuber, goes by Chaos. He is a supporter of the channel. Definitely just want to give him a shout out. He makes great Madden content. I don't know if he considers himself still a pro, but he definitely has been in the competitive Madden scene, now does YouTube videos. I enjoy his videos a lot. He keeps a very humanistic approach to it. He used to rage out a lot, but now he doesn't. And I think one of the cool things about him is that last year he got married, and I believe he got a new house last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, I'm gonna give a link to his channel in the description below. Definitely check him out. He is a great follow. That being said, let's go into the Madden 23 beta. Is it a rehash of 22 with a different roster update? Not really. That's what my stance is gonna be. There is enough key differences to make it stand out from 22. However, the differences are gonna really put you into two categories. The first category is going to be what I call people who are looking for the presentation elements, how the game looks, how the game feels. Really, that's gonna kind of be a copy of 22. The game does look a little bit better graphically. The scoreboard has been redesigned. There is some cool new presentation elements they added, like if you are offline and you score a touchdown, it does the NBC style broadcasting where it shows their name with the players, the team's banner. But outside of that, the same intro, same thing onto the field, not really much difference there. So really the presentation is a little bit the same. If that's what really gets your boat going, you're probably gonna say not really much this year. Now, the other department I'm going to put this into is the actual gameplay department. This is where I feel like 23 takes a big leap. There is a lot of gameplay improvements that have come through the course of this year, and I'm super excited to kind of dive into it. The first one is going to be the FeelSense. FieldSense is just their new gameplay engine of how they are now making players operate on the field. One thing from it that I really enjoy is it takes away the suction tackling. I know at 22 and years before, it would feel like you would get to a point where you kind of know the play is going to end because either you get sucked into your offensive lineman or you get tackled from behind with like a suction tackle. This year, you really don't see that happening. It's even led to points where I put the controller down thinking, all right, this play's done, as I'm like running behind a lineman, just to have my running back do like a little quick move and he's actually out the hole and still going. The real cool thing about it that I think really will make it stand out is it does branch really well together when it comes to tacklings and just different actions that happen on the field. Nothing that's going to be really amazing or wow, but if you look at where Madden was last year with their animations to tackling, it is definitely noticeable the improvement that happens this year. Really, I enjoy running the ball or just interacting with any runners on the field now because I feel like you really have that whole any play could turn into a touchdown. They add a new cut system. If you hold left trigger or L2 on the PlayStation, you can do your 360 cuts. It is a small, slight subtle change, but if you have it in the right hands, you can definitely cause some destruction with it. You'll see a lot more kickoff returns this year because people who have mastered that slight little acceleration touch can easily go from one side of the field to the other. It isn't, in my opinion, cheap, but it is one of those things that if you aren't using your strafe or you're not, or you're being super aggressive, you can easily get fooled by it, and now you're watching them go for a touchdown on you. So just keep that in mind. Really, when it comes to FieldSense, the number one thing that I've got from it is the on-the-field product feels better. You're not gonna get looped into any animations that's gonna make you feel as if you got unfairly sucked in or discouraged. You really have to keep your eyes out on every play because now you might break something that in years before you weren't really going to break or have a chance to. The next thing I want to talk about is the new defense. So they have improved zones. You've seen the zone coverage updates on the gridiron notes. I can link that below, but essentially just from a layman standpoint, they react better with zones. You throw into the new zone system, it is now going to have the players, instead of trying to match where they decide what defense should do what coverage based on the routes given, they're now going to sit exactly where their zone is. It's pretty cool because now if my yellow's right here, this is where my defender's going to be. be. And it really actually shows itself a lot more when you are in those sudden passive formations and you see people go to like the flats or maybe the middle field. You see your defenders kind of hover there more just because that's where they should be at. One thing they do allow you to do is you can go back to how Madden 22 had defense, where you can have the match coverage is in your coach adjustments. I like to flip that on occasionally if I'm doing like a cover 3 match or cover 4 palms, just so I can confuse my opponents on where the zone is going to go. But essentially you do have a lot more, I won't say a lot more tools, but you have a lot more reliance now that the computer's going to play defense the right way. But in addition to that defense, you also have an improved pass rush. You can't sit back there all day. Gone are the days where you could just sit in 22 with 4 or 5 people rushing at you and you can either run to the outside or sit in your pocket and no one gets to you. If you run to the outside now, there's definitely pressure along the way. I'm not going to sit here and say contains are going to always stop the outside quarterback, but they definitely make more of an attempt. And I do feel like even if you have a fast quarterback, if you get to the outside and you have someone barreling down on you, it's only a matter of time before they get you. I feel like you really can't just run to the outside and outrun a defender. Like usually people who I've seen who go to the outside, they just roll to that sideline and have to sit there. Usually the defense comes barreling down on them, but I can tell you right now, if the dude that they want to throw to on that outside isn't wide open, like there's someone on them, they're probably going to end up throwing a pick or an incomplete pass. So just kind of keep that in mind. It really helps out just for me as a defensive player, knowing that I'm not going to give up a lot of cheap points to that as compared to 22, where you could play a really perfect defense. Person goes out the pocket, they're able to hit like a deep bomb down the field or scramble for a whole bunch of yards. So really they've kind of toned that down, made the pass rush more aggressive, so you're not going to see that too much. That being said, I'm trying to think of else. The other thing on defense I really like is they add the ability for you to be able to tackle the wide receivers in the air. What will happen now is instead of always having to go for a pick, you can now just hit the ball out of the wide receiver. I know that for some people, they want to go for picks because that's what, Madden, you're trained to do that. But honestly, I feel like knocking the ball out is so much more rewarding. Not only does it like hit them so that the ball gets jarred out, it also makes it so if you try to do any like aggressive catch, unless you're like Keenan Allen or Devontae Adams, you're probably gonna have that ball get knocked out. And when the ball gets knocked out, it's free game. I've had a lot of ones where I knocked the ball out and one of my defenders is in the area, they would get a pick. Works the same way if you do the swat. If you do a swat, it also knocks it out. Won't be like where you're actually tackling, but it does get it out their hands. And once again, once that ball is swatted, it's a live ball. I've had to work two ways where either the offense gets it or the defense gets it. It sucks when the offense gets it, but it kind of makes sense because that player's in the area. Either way, I just want to say defense has definitely taken a step forward. You will feel the you will feel the defensiveness of the game if you have two people who could play defense well. I actually had one of my ranked games where none of us scored in the first half because we were both playing such great defense. And I've had a lot of ranked games where it's been like 14-10, 21-14, like very low scoring games. Obviously, there are ways to go ahead and exploit the defense. Like if you come out with the Cardinals and it's 5 wide, it's going to be tough to defend all those people on the field, but for the most part, you should see the average score of Madden go down. And if you are a defensive fiend like I am, you'll definitely be able to hold people in check and control that side of the ball with the new defensive enhancements. I will say, in my time with the beta, they don't drop picks. I can't speak for MUT because I don't play for MUT, I only play regs, but in my regs experience, people were catching picks left and right. I think I only saw a drop pick maybe once, and that's just me just saying there had to have been at least one. Really, the cool thing is if you are good at getting those picks, you're going to be able to do a lot with your point scoring, because I've seen most of my games really be once someone starts throwing picks, it gets game over because they can't crack that defense and the points are getting too much for them to overcome, because offense is harder this year. Not harder to where you can't move the ball at all, but you're gonna have to basically read the field. For me, I always liked my old reliable routes, like short underneath, simple medium throws, but really defense takes that away this year, and you can make some plays on balls that you normally wouldn't be able to. A lot of routes that I depended on, like the comeback route, now that the zones are playing their actual zone spot, they take that away. So if you have a purple route on the field, that purple route is going to take away that intermediate route like a comeback. So it is going to force you to kind of get reliant on new routes going forward. I just want to say overall for defense side of the ball, a plus. Man coverage, they haven't really changed it, but I know a lot of people have been sleeping on it. I say don't sleep on man coverage. I really think that it actually works really well if you pair it in with your zone defenses here and there. That's because a lot of people assume you're always going to be in zone, so I've gotten a lot of heat by doing man blitzes or just doing a simple man cover one robber, because now the robbers can actually play the zone the right way. So I've gotten picks off there, so definitely incorporate it into your scheme. I don't think you should only run in man, but I definitely think you should have it to where if you're using zone 75% of the time, maybe use man at 25%. Of course, adjust the balance as you need. I will say one thing on defense that I really like is with the improved pass rush. When I do send like a man blitz, I really feel the heat getting there. I've definitely caught my opponents off guard because I'll send that overstore brave out of nickel and they're like, oh, I thought it was a zone. It wasn't. So I think honestly, if you like the defensive side of the ball, you'll be happy with the improvements. Now, as we go into the offensive side of the ball, I wanted to give a shout out to basically what I told you earlier, the LT using those field cuts. If you're in the backfield with a running back, that's probably what you're going to want to use instead of doing a simple juke or spin, just because that's quicker and it does let you have a great change of direction. If you're going to the right and you notice that, well, the right's plugged up, but the middle's open, you can use that LT to quickly change your direction, not lose a beat, and then you could be up out of there into the hole. So that's definitely something you're going to want to master as a runner. One thing they did add on offense was tackle battles. So if you are basically running and you go up to someone with about the same, I guess, tackle rating compared to your break tackle rating, it makes a tackle battle happen. You have to tap A on the Xbox or X on PlayStation 5, and you will be able to either, if you win, keep going forward, or if you lose, get stopped. It is going to be one of the interesting things because it does mimic the NFL with pile up. So if you are in a tackle battle, a defender can come up from behind you or the side of you and try to strip the ball out. That will cause fumbles. There are ways to get around this though. One way is to, when you're doing a tackle battle, you hit RB, you give up being able to win the battle, but your ball carrier will hold on to the ball so they won't fumble it. Another thing you could do is also hit X, or I believe on the PlayStation Square. What will happen then is you will essentially give yourself up so that you won't be able to move forward and you lose the tackle battle. One might ask, well, Vicious, why would I just not do that every time there's a tackle battle? Because there might be instances where you actually need to get that first yard or that first down, and that tackle battle happens to where you just have to go for it. The difference between getting that first down or getting that touchdown versus not. So it does prove for some interesting battles. It also is really cool when you get that win off someone who wasn't expecting it, just because the way they brushed them off is actually pretty cool to do. One other thing they did add that's going to add a lot of, I guess, opinions to the community is the new passing system. Now with the passing, you're able to do a new pass system that lets you kind of pinpoint where you want to place the ball. The way it works is when you throw the ball, it has a highlighted area that you're gonna be able to dictate where the ball is going to go. While the ball is still being thrown or your quarterback's still cocking up, you're able to move around the target retina to where you want it. Once you release the button, that's where you can't move the retina around anymore. It will be a little bit jarring to use. I do recommend having to play with the speeds to kind of get what you want to do when it comes to that. A lot of people have been using the fastest speed, the 20/20, because when you are doing the aiming, the quarterback does kind of have a slow cock back as if he's trying to like pinpoint where it goes. The 20/20 is an okay one. For me, it felt a little bit weird because unless you're just really on it with where you want to go, you might want to have that time or that extra time to kind of really maneuver it. I think one of the cool things one of the things that gets not noticed is the fact that you don't have to actually do that pass for all the passes. You can really just still throw the ball normally. So if you're throwing to someone who's wide open, you don't have to aim where you want it. You can literally just hit the button, throw it, make it be a lob, touch pass, however you want to do it. But essentially when you are using it, I think it does add a nice little boost because you can put that pass where only your person can get it. I had a streak that I was doing once down the field to a wide receiver where basically I lobbed it and it put it at the top of the whole, gray area, and then I was able to use the left trigger to actually extend it outside just a little bit so that it was either going to be like a catch by my dude or he's going to overthrow him, and it worked. And it was one of those things where it felt natural, it felt cool. It was like my pain and Madden moment of the beta, and it really made me just appreciate having that feature in there. I definitely think you're going to see some nasty throws. Really, I think if you use a top-rated quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, probably not going to be something where you're going to be wild at, but it does enable you to have quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, or any low-rated quarterback where you can actually make some impressive throws because you can actually put the ball where you want it to. Because those quarterbacks are rated so low, if you aren't using that, you are subjected to whatever, I guess, throw that you'll get because of their low overall. One downfall of it is though, if you are holding the ball too long trying to aim and you do get hit or sacked, there's a chance your quarterback can fumble. I've had that happen to me enough times to warn it that it can definitely go down. So just one of the things you want to keep in mind with the new improved pass rush. You definitely want to make sure that if you are aiming it, that you have the time to pull it off. That being said, with the new pass rush, there are things on offense you can do to help negate it. Obviously, you can block more people. Another thing is you can actually way the pocket forms now. You can actually run up the gut with your quarterback. Usually the way the pocket forms, it goes around the quarterback now. So instead of going to the outside where you could probably get chased down, you usually can find some area in the middle of the field to basically run up that gut and actually get some cheap yards that way. So just one of the things you have to think about. But overall, my time in the beta, I really felt like the game for Madden 23 felt fresh, felt improved. It felt like the defense actually mattered. It felt like on offense I had to work for things. Now, there is going to be people who say the game still might lean towards offense a little bit, which I will say is probably true, but I do feel like as a defensive player, if I know that you don't know what you're doing on offense, I can easily exploit it. Plus, it's kind of hard when you're only playing people in the beta. People in the beta are probably going to be pretty decent to good Madden players. I was playing against, a lot of ranked people where I'm playing against these really close games, and then I played someone who doesn't really play ranked as much, and it was a blowout. So honestly, I really do feel like if you know what you're doing on defense, this is the year where you'll be able to definitely take advantage and not lose to people doing stupid stuff. Granted, that's not always going to be the case, but it is what it is. But I will say this, overall, my Madden 23 betas are solid. It's like everyone's been saying, people who focus on the gameplay, I really do feel like the game has changed for the better. I will say if you just care about the gameplay of actual Madden, that this is probably going to be a good year for you. It seems like with all the stuff that EA is promoting, such as, defenders reacting better, taking away the flats, drift logics, they're really trying to improve the base overall gameplay before they go into other areas like franchise. So you want to keep that in mind. If the gameplay in Madden really isn't your thing and you are more of a franchise presentation person, there's probably not going to be much more for you. I didn't really get to play the franchise option. From what I have heard, they've added a few things, but once again, nothing that's going to make you want to come running back if you already did not or were not a fan of the EA Madden NFL franchise mode. That being said, for everyone who's like me, that they just want to play the game, have some good competition, have some good fun, I think with the new gameplay additions that they're going to have this year, that this is going to be a really good year for Madden. I'm hoping that they keep most of the stuff in the beta that was there. There's only a few things that I would personally want to see changed up. One of them is the A for knocking the ball out animation is not always triggering. I definitely have moments where I'm trying to go for it and my dude does nothing. They are aware of that and they're working on getting that fixed, so hopefully they have that done. But outside of that, love the defense, love the pass rush, love that on offense now I have to really be strategic of where I put the ball at, because if I just throw any willy-nilly route, the zone defense and new defense overall will be there to take advantage of it. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want to know about the beta. I will happily answer them. Obviously, I know this video is coming late. A lot of people have already given their impressions for the Madden 23 beta, but I wanted to make sure I got a whole bunch of games in before I spoke on it. Currently, right now, I've had a ridiculous amount of games in the beta, guys. A ridiculous amount. I just been playing it so much. So if you do want to know anything, especially when it comes to online head-to-head or just head-to-head in general, let me know. I'll be sure to answer it for you. Until next time, it's the boy Vicious for Life. Peace.